Hi, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Pair of Kings podcast. This week, we are talking about oncoming regulation in the EU. I know, sounds super interesting. It actually is. Driving forward what fashion is going to look like. We talk about some really crazy selvage denim and some really interesting projects. And Michael, what else do we talk about?
Neurotic reproductions of badly made clothing.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Listen to the podcast, everybody. Join the Hero, all that good stuff. And we'll also tell you about a giveaway that we are doing in about 6 seconds. So stay tuned for that.
What you gonna do with all that junk inside your trunk? I'ma get you drunk, get you love drunk off my hump, 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 my lovely little lump. Check it out.
Hey, everybody.
Hi.
Just in time for summer. The perfect time to do it. We are giving away some beanies, nice warm beanies, made by our wonderful friend Bailey Goldberg. We don't know what they are yet because we're still going to make them. We haven't made them yet. We're going to talk to Bailey. We're going to get some beanies made up. We're going to give away 2 of them. All you have to do to be entered into the drawing is go to herohero.co/PoK and sign up. Helps us pay our video editor, helps us support the podcast, and yeah, that's all you got to do.
Also, the only other thing you have to do is when I announce the winner, which will be the Monday after the Tuesday that this episode is released to everybody, pay attention to the giveaway winner, and if you don't respond, I'm going to give it to somebody else, but if you do respond, you get a free beanie. Pretty great.
Pretty great.
I don't know, back to the episode.
Here you go.
Bye, everyone. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to this episode of the Pair of Kings podcast. I'm your host, Saul Thompson. I'm joined this week by my wonderful co-host.
I'm Michael Smith. You can find me on Instagram at _Smithstagram, and I am here on this podcast feeding Saul 4 saltines.
Well,
We wanted to do 6, but I've been eating the fuck out of these things. So we did 2 at once, baby. Here we go. All right. Now that Saul's absolutely ready. Welcome to the podcast, everybody. Good old boys episode today. Saul here, my wonderful co-host. How you doing? Could you give me a fit check, please?
Yeah, I got you. Okay, cool. Oh, fuck. Here's the feedback. Oh, it's so dry. Okay, I have a pair of white gold, strawberry jam, a belt from also white gold, and, of course, a raffle shirt.
He is absolutely covered in saltine crumbs now.
It says, Reploid against rabbits.
Sorry, what does it say?
Reploid against rabbits.
Oh, you're
What are
doing
you
so
wearing,
great.
Michael?
No, you tell me. What am I wearing?
Oh my god, no. Capital Century Jam, they're beautiful. And a kosher barrel baby food.
A what?
Kosher barrel baby food.
A what?
Kosher barrel baby food.
Oh, to a guy like me, that's just a t-shirt.
Oh, fuck off.
To a baby girl like me, we just call that a t-shirt.
I'm also wearing all of these crumbs.
Bro, I'm going to have to vacuum my couch as soon as you stand up.
You can really hear my deviated septum as I struggle to respirate.
Yeah. Saul is getting prepped to go do surgery in a few days, so he's gonna fix his deviated septum. But for now, we're trying to do as much as we can to make it more unbearable. Oh my God, you are getting so many crumbs all over my apartment.
Inadvertently, I am going to have a very hot girl June. I have to be sober for the entire month because I can't have anything that would thin my blood. And I'm getting a nose job. I'm also thinking non-surgical BBL and my breasts.
What is a non-surgical BBL?
They just do injections.
Oh, interesting. Does that work?
I don't know. We will find out.
Okay. Is it like that's something people do?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I
Never
see
heard of
ads
that.
for them all the time.
Oh.
Targeted, obviously.
Yeah, well, because you're constantly searching.
So much saltine in my mouth. And on my shirt.
And on my couch.
How are you today, Michael?
I'm good. I'm feeling good. It's hot. I know. We got to do the weather talk. Two times a season we have to do weather talk.
Yeah, sorry.
And currently it's the first. Like yesterday was the first hot day. It was kind of chill. It was fine. We were wearing jackets even though we kind of didn't need to. And now all of a sudden I'm fucking sweating no matter what I wear.
I have a couple rules on dates. No talking about work.
No talking
about the weather.
How many saltines can you eat on a date at once?
Am I trying to impress her?
Yes.
There is no limit.
Of course, you're on a date.
There is no limit.
Hitting the 10 stack.
Went on a really nice first date. Went to a very nice Italian restaurant. And we ordered the burrata as an appetizer. And it came, and it looked delicious. It was this big ball of burrata. And she was like, we were chatting before it came. And I was like, I'm really hungry. She was like, me too. And burrata comes. And I was like, oh, it looks so good. She goes, yeah, it does. I was like, I think I could eat that in one bite.
And
she goes, you wouldn't. I said, okay. And there's a video of me, like a snake eating an egg.
Yep.
Straight down the hatch.
Snake? Do snakes eat eggs?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. With the shell on?
Mm-hmm.
You ever seen like a skink eat an egg where they're really fucking bad at it?
The lizard.
Yeah, the little blue lizard that barely has legs. The thing that should be a snake.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that was like halfway between being punished by God.
Mm.
Isn't that why snakes are like that?
Are they?
Yeah. I think
Was Adam and Eve thing?
I think canonically God took snakes' legs away. Maybe I'm thinking of something else.
They seem to be doing pretty well without them.
Yeah, no, they're slithering along.
You want to hear my interesting snake fact?
Yes.
This is a fashion podcast. So rattlesnakes we are as human beings selectively picking out the rattlesnakes that rattle. So rattlesnakes don't really rattle anymore, to warn you.
Oh?
I came across 3 of them in the Grand Canyon, and none of them rattled at us, despite 2 of them being stepped on.
Oh, because humans are specifically killing them when they hear the rattle.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, that's crazy.
That's really sad.
That's bad.
Mm-hmm. Do you think they're going to change the name?
Snake?
Snake.
But now we're left with super we're left with like mutant super rattlesnakes that are stealthy. Stealth snakes. Oh, that's evil.
Yeah.
Remember during COVID, there was way less like way less like rat food in abundance.
We made giga rats.
We made like only the absolute strongest of the rats survived.
during
Well, the
COVID.
thing is, people were still, or is it just that so many people left?
It was people left and then restaurants closed for 3 months.
Right. But there must have been the same amount of, if there's the same amount of people in New York, the same amount of food is being eaten in some capacity.
Yes, but I think that there's less food waste overall.
Because people are just like making small meals at home and eating all of them.
Yep.
So the only rats that survived that are obviously the ones that are like the strongest of all the rats and are going to kick all the other rat asses to get the small amount of food that is left available. And then I guess maybe eat the other rats.
They
Do
started
rats
eating
eat?
one another.
So sick.
So you can actually look this up. Rat fact time. There are different rats that have done well in different areas of the city. I believe smaller rats have done better farther north because they can squeeze in past the pipes in some of those older apartment buildings. And then downtown, where there's a lot of food waste and a lot of restaurants, the bigger and scarier rats have proliferated really well because they're not pressured for as much space in terms of like not housing, but there's a lot of subway tunnels that they can live in. But there's not enough building space for all of them. So they're competing for food that is, I guess, easier to procure, but there's less cover for it. So the bigger and scarier rats can get in, get out. And the big scarier ones are downtown, and then the small little nimble ones are uptown.
I live on the rat street of Bushwick, kind
Nice.
of. There's just like, I guess they're all kind of rat streets in Bushwick, but for some reason, like, there's just so many rats in here in a way that I'm like really not used to.
I'm
in
so
other,
excited to move in.
Hell yeah. Sal and I are going to be roommates. We're kicking Fiona out.
I'm going to be their Kramer, except for the racial slurs.
Well, that's not Kramer. That's Michael. What's his name?
Smith.
Yeah, hey, from the top rope. Because Kramer was long gone before the The whole thing.
Newman.
I
I have a lot of stuff I want to talk about on this episode of a fashion podcast. Do you want to start with your stuff that you want to talk about on this episode of a fashion podcast?
keep thinking about J.W. Anderson.
J-Dubs.
J-Dubs, my boy J-Dubs.
He will be very busy.
He was the creative director of Men's Dior. And that was fine. He's keeping his own line. So, 4 seasons of his own line and 4 seasons of Dior. Or does J.W. Anderson only do 2 a year?
I would assume 2.
2 a year?
Or they may do a resort, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
We'll say 2 as an uneducated guess. Or as an educated guess, pardon me.
And then Men's Dior, that's going to be 4. And then they were like, you're here anyways. Would you like to maybe design the women's collection as well? And so J.W. Anderson is now doing the Dior women's collection and Dior couture collection, meaning that at the least we're talking 4 women's seasons, 4 men's seasons, 2 couture, and 2. So at the very least we're talking 12 seasons a year that J.W. Anderson is making right now. I don't know where he's going to find the time to kick a dog.
He's got to blow off that steam somehow.
Can we say that?
Yeah, I think we can.
Can we just say it that bluntly? Is the J.W. Anderson PR team gonna?
Do you think when they step outside, well, the door isn't a dog. You think when they step outside for cigarettes, everyone's smoking, and they just have a puppy lined up for J.W. Anderson? He's got to blow off some steam.
Someone
somehow.
hands him a cigarette. He's like, "Oh no, I'm."
Leo, we're not going to that show. You think he snaps into a rage, sort of like a sleeper agent when he sees a Hector bag? They have to like hold him back. No, JW,
No. Spring 2023. Yeah, so he does.
He's got a steel toe just in one boot.
Wait, fall 2023. He does do 4 J.W. Anderson seasons a year.
He's gonna run out of ideas so fast.
Yeah,
fuck it, put an anchor on it. They're like, we're out. We can't do that anymore.
No more anchors.
Please, more jacquard.
So that's 14. That is 14 seasons, and one of them's couture.
Let's predict now, and we can do in 1 year, right? How many of those are gonna be straight ass? I'm gonna say 5. I'll say 5 are mid. 2 are really good. 2 are like, okay, these are pretty great. And then 5 are ass.
Yeah.
That's the guess.
He's kind of doing the he's about to Peter Doe himself.
I thought you were gonna make a joke about
Kicking a dog.
yourself thin. Yeah, well, duh.
Spreading yourself thin.
Yeah, as I drank that coffee, you know that one photo of the frat guy drinking beer with the clicker?
No.
Oh, I'm just sitting here with crumbs all over me talking about how Dior is going to be ass. And it feels a little...
Honestly, bro, J.W. Anderson's not even that good of a designer.
Dude, what the fuck does he know? My Daft Punk shirt covered in crumbs and the jeans I slept in the other night because I got home really late.
You slept in your... I don't even understand.
I love sleeping in jeans.
It's so easy to take pants off. It's so easy.
You think so?
It's easier to take pants off than it is to fall asleep wearing.
There are a lot of new creative directors, and I think that it would be fun to chat about them quickly.
The carrying musical chairs.
Yeah.
The fucking Kentucky Shuffle, the Kansas City Shuffle of carrying creative directors where nothing has changed but everything's different.
They mad because
designer by designer, nothing changes, but you look back and it's all different.
So really quickly, we've got Matthew Blasey at Chanel, Glenn Martins at Margiela, Demna at Gucci, Luis Trotter at Bottega Veneta, Michael Ryder at Celine, J.W. Anderson at Dior, Pier Paolo at Balenciaga, and Duran Lotnick at JPG. So I think it is important to say that it was Martine Rose, I believe, was offered a co-position with Pier Paolo at Balenciaga, and it still may be in the works. I heard this from a member of the media team at Balenciaga, but I don't think she accepted.
That would have been. I mean, I think that the dream creative director at Balenciaga for me is Martine Rose.
She, I think, is the right person for the job.
She's responsible for a lot of the early, like, very popular Balenciaga looks, like sort of the explosion of a lot of that.
And vet as well, right?
And vet, yeah.
Okay.
I think. Wait.
She did that one racer jacket that Kanye was wearing in that one interview.
Oh, yeah.
Where
yeah,
he
yeah,
was
yeah.
super. I mean, sorry,
That interview.
sorry to be unspecific, but the one where Kanye was being super racist and anti-Semitic.
The Fox News one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Holy Trinity caring thing. It's Pier Paolo was at Valentino, went to Balenciaga. Demna was at Balenciaga, went to Gucci. Alessandro was at Gucci, went to Valentino. They just kind of rotated the like triangle a bit. Every one of those designers will be doing what they do anyways, the same stuff, but they will now be under a slightly different name with a slightly different archive to draw on and a slightly different like fan base, sort of. But I think people move with the designer more than they move with. So it's like Kering's way of like all these brands are hemorrhaging money, and they need to make them profitable again.
I don't honestly think that they're doing financially as bad as they purport to.
I think it's more like Balenciaga saw a huge explosion and a huge growth. So between like from Wang to Demna, there was like obviously a huge shift and a huge like explosion in popularity with Balenciaga.
Wang wasn't good.
Well, yes, obviously, because they got a bad designer and they replaced him with a good designer. Things are bound to happen. But there was this huge explosion. There was like, triple S's. There was the hoodies. There was like all of this very early Balenciaga stuff that was insanely popular, and they saw growth, and then it leveled out, and they stopped seeing that like continuous infinite growth, and they're like, oh, this designer's not doing anything for us.
Can I ask, do you think that the growth went up and then stayed at the level of popularity, or do you think there was a dip?
I think there's
like once everybody got their triple S,
it like went up, and then it's fluctuated on a normal like it was at like what? Pick a random number. It was at
3
10.
out of 10.
It was 3 out of 10, and then it went up to 7 out of 10.
Okay,
and now it's dipping between like 5 and 7.
Okay, so it was an like objective improvement.
Yes, it's had an improvement, but because you see these like local minimas, you see it like go down, and you're like, oh, Demna's losing popularity. Still way more popular than it was when Wang was there.
Yep.
So like, and probably doing better. I mean, for a while, Balenciaga was like the most profitable, but they see that, and it's like we need to change designers because that's what gets people excited. That's what makes people pay more attention. That's how we sell stuff. That's how we spike that popularity again. But they have like 3 of the best designers in fashion, 3 of the biggest names right now, and they want to keep a hold of them.
I think it's really interesting because you can really trace how well Balenciaga did by all of the weird, shitty sub-labels of Balenciaga that have started selling for a ton of money. Back in 2017 and 2016, when I was playing a lot of golf.
Oh, so this is from the licensing era.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So Balenciaga licensed out their name, and there are these like weird sub-labels. One of them was Balenciaga Golf. And they made apparel for golf. They had pretty nice pants and slacks. They had a lot of sweaters, which are great. A couple of like windbreakers and sport coats and things like that. And it was cheap. You could find the sweaters for like $40 to $60. Windbreakers for like $40, $60. Pants were like $20 because they fit kind of weird. And I had quite a bit of it. I liked playing golf in them. Everything was a little bit small, which is fine. But I sold a lot of it in like 2019 when I stopped playing as much, and I was like, I don't want to tote golf gear everywhere. And then Demna got to Balenciaga, And the other week, because I've talked about Balenciaga Golf on the podcast before, especially in the licensing era. But I was looking at prices, and those sweaters, same ones that I was buying for like $40, are like $230, $240, $250.
Are they selling or are they posted?
A couple of them have sold.
That's crazy. And that's,
I can show you, but
I feel like that's the like Zoomer resell account thing where it says Balenciaga on it. So it must be the same as whatever this is.
really ugly polo.
Yeah.
These used to sell for like $20. This one for $160.
Oh, that's so bad.
Mhm.
From the era when Balenciaga was like doing really bad and they're like, oh, we need to do whatever to make money. Let's let people use our logo. And so a bunch of like not Balenciaga designed items got made with Balenciaga as like sort of the parent brand. It is not unheard of in this era for, I believe Demna's made a couple things and a couple logo designs that directly reference stuff pulled from there. They found like Balenciaga licensed stuff and sort of like borrowed the logo back, which I think is interesting.
I think it's really interesting. I also think it was a really interesting time of fashion. We've talked about this previously, and I won't rehash an entire conversation. I think about a year ago, we talked a lot about the licensing craze that happened in the 80s and 90s. Even in the early 2000s was a big time for it. But I think that in particular is a really fun and quirky thing to reference. And I think that for brands that are struggling to make money, simply replacing the designer isn't going to do anything. And I think that they need to realize that for a lot of these luxury brands, what people want is the perception of luxury and something exclusive. And then once everybody has the thing, nobody's going to want the thing anymore.
Right.
Because it's not cool. And, you know, like you saw it with the Triple S, where it was really cool. All the rappers started wearing them. Every music video, somebody was wearing Triple S's. And then everybody got them. People moved on. And there was that like tail end effect, or like the afterglow, where people still bought a couple of them. Come up here, Leo. And after that, when was the last time you saw anybody wearing a Triple S outside of like a couple of people?
Yes, and I haven't seen people wearing Triple S in like a fashion guy context in a very long time. Like it's mostly just been like, well, I mean, I feel like Trax replaced Triple S.
Yes.
And then the uglier ones, the runners, replaced Trax. And you see those a lot. The ones with the like silver Sharpie size on the toe. But Triple S, I don't know. I think Triple S got sort of like lost in the void. But, you know, that's why you have to keep making new sneakers and new sneakers. But has the big sneaker craze has kind of died.
Yeah, I think with Heady Boy Revival, which I'd like to say we called last year, like I want to say in May.
For sure.
It was really early. We called that one, and we were absolutely correct. Watch this space. I think we're gonna see a revival of the what was it called? That Saint Laurent skate shoe that they put out. Do you know the one I'm talking about?
Oh, the one that looks like a
a
bread
van?
dunk, or the Vans one. Fuck, what are those called?
SL17s, maybe?
When are they gonna?
If I know that off the top of my head, I'm cooked.
They're also, they must bring back the leather one that's basically a Jordan, right?
Oh, yes, that was the other Eddie one. They are called the Baby Cats.
Baby cats?
Oh yeah, everybody wanted these.
That's
back
just a
in
cat
2016.
to a dude like me. Yes, I remember these. They're just Vans.
I know, but
They are
people
just
gonna want 'em.
Vans.
I think we're gonna see like this era van revival.
Yeah, I
Could you
think
throw up, Yannick? Sorry, the Baby Cats and the SL06 court shoes. I was wrong on the number, but I had the SL there.
06. Oh, and those are just a Stan Smith.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're gonna see a revival of like clean white sneaker.
Common Projects time. Common Projects
I
coming
think
back.
we might see him come back. I want to see a crepe sole come back really bad.
What do you mean a crepes? Like a Clark's Desert boot?
You know how they were doing the suede, the Saint Laurent boots with the gum soles?
I hate crepe soles are bad. They shouldn't exist.
Oh, they're terrible, but I just
Yeah.
want to see them.
You get the Clark's Desert boot with the like it's got like a proper boot sole shape
Yeah.
where like it's all made of crepe, but there's still like a heel block. And then you wear them and it flattens out completely, and you're just left walking on kind of like an eraser of sort, you know, like a slightly curved
You know,
worn
those,
down.
Scholastic Book Fair for really big mistakes.
Oh yeah, like the big ass eraser.
Tape 'em
Yeah,
on.
just keep fucking. It's so bad.
Yeah, I think also John and I called that like ironic phase of fashion, I want to say in 2020. And we were
But
absolutely
ironic fashion was
correct.
happening before then.
I know, but it just got so overdone.
Mm.
Where like in 2023, in 2024, you saw kids in Washington Square Park just wearing shirts with like impact text that just said like loser. And I was like, oh,
there's still a ton of brands doing exactly that.
yeah, but they
It's crazy.
aren't doing well, I would imagine.
No, I think they are.
Oh, sorry. So I want to talk about Martine Rose for a minute. I don't think that Kering or LVMH are ready to take, I hate to say it like this because I don't see it like that, but a gamble on somebody like Martine Rose. I think that it's been a very long time since we've seen a woman come up on her own, let alone a black woman, come up on her own in the fashion world and be able to transition into a head designer role or a creative director role, whatever it is. And there was a very similar conversation, as I remember it, I could be wrong, when Virgil was given the reins of Louis Vuitton of like, can he do this? And I think that it's sort of an entrenched, not only misogyny, slight racism, that a designer like Martine Rose, who is a wonderful designer, but does quote unquote streetwear, may not be able to transfer that acumen to a house like Balenciaga and do things that are...
Which is crazy because Balenciaga is quote unquote streetwear.
Yes.
Now.
Yep.
And like she is partially responsible for that.
She is very responsible for that.
that like early era. But it's Kering being like freaked out that they can't let go of their 3 old white guys that have been making them money for 10 years now. And they're like,
morning, beautiful.
we just gotta like we cannot, like we have to move you because things are getting stale, but could you just move a little could you just come over here?
The nothing ever changes, Wojak.
Yeah.
Always bet on nothing.
It's crazy.
I want to talk about something that I do think will shake up the fashion world in quite a big way. That nobody is talking about this. No, I don't think a lot of people realize. So one of the big things that I have been digging into is ESPR regulations. And this is going to be a really interesting conversation for
Extra
me.
Special penis report.
So ESPR, for those that don't know.
Oh, that's the sports network.
Was the Eco Design for Sustainable Products regulation, which is being put into place in the EU, right? I was talking to the former head of sustainability at Theory about this. It's super interesting, at least to me. I hope it'll be interesting to you. But ESPR is part of a couple of regulations that are being rolled out across the EU. There's a more stringent one in France that we can talk about in a little bit, but I'm going to focus on ESPR because the regulations kick into effect in July. I believe it's the 19th of 2025. And what it requires and mandates are certain end use goals for a lot of things, but I'm just going to focus on textiles. And the creation or the mandate that all textiles need to have what is called a digital product passport, where on any good that you buy in the EU, you'll be able to ideally scan a QR code and know where it was produced, how it was produced, how to take care of it, and how to dispose of it. And so a lot of brands that sell out of the EU are going to be beholden to this regulation. They're going to have to update their manufacturing processes to be in alignment with this. And because of that forced transparency, a lot of them are moving where they are, are moving suppliers. Some of them are moving out of China and into Japan. I'll talk about that in a minute. Some of them are moving out of Japan and into Italy or back into Italy, which is really interesting. And the luxury houses of all brands.
Wait, moving back into Italy, but they're European regulations? Or why moving back into Italy?
I'll get into that in a minute, but there are some really good producers of things like wool in the EU. And because they're already beholden to the regulation, it reduces the amount of headache, as I understand it. So if it's being produced in the EU, you assume it's produced according to those regulations. And then when it's coming in, you don't have to track somebody down in China or Japan or whatever it is to align with those regulations.
You're saying there's like a QR code on.
So I'll get the exact wording for you because I was reading about this. Hold on. I think I had this open in a different one. So, another big thing about this. If you don't do it, and it rolls out, for large enterprises on July 19th, 2025, and medium-sized enterprises, I don't quite know the distinction, but I imagine a lot of the larger fashion houses are large. They roll out in 2030 for medium-sized enterprises. Those non-compliant products will be fined, and I think that there will be a pretty large amount of vocal kickback as well for unsustainable or non-responsible manufacturing products or producers for those larger enterprises, and that will help drive some of that change.
As of a few years ago, I don't know exactly when, Rick has started putting a QR code on every single one of his tags. Is that like in anticipation, or do you think that's unrelated?
Probably both. This was announced, I think, in 2020.
Wait, let me go get one. I'll be right back.
I have to pee as well, but I'm worried about the crumbs. Hold on. So, Michael ran and got a Rick garment so we could double check.
So,
really quickly, I was going to read about Digital Product Passport real quick.
DPP.
So, DPP.
Big fan of DPP.
Daft Punk. These products will need to be registered in a Digital Product Passport registry managed by the EU Commission. Product Passport will ensure the availability of reliable and standardized information on product traceability, enable informed consumer decisions, and present all relevant information to other economic operators across a product supply chain. The Product Passport will include a summary on, amongst others, process materials and chemical substances, a product's repairability, spares, or information on appropriate disposal. The necessary data carriers containing that information must be attached to the product and allow easy and free of charge access for consumers and economic operators. Pretty cool.
Pretty cool. This Rick thing it does have a QR code on it. It says scan code below for more information about the collection.
Ooh.
So I don't know if that means if that's like a.
So it is an EU address. That's
no, it just takes you to that's crazy.
Oh, it just takes you to the collections themselves.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with the... Wait. Oh, no, it is a specific. It is... It's not just taking you to a page about the collections. It's taking you to a page about the, development of the season.
Ah, that's quite nice.
Which is
interesting. I
interesting.
wonder if this is them front-running and just trying to make sure that this system works.
Maybe. Oh, this is the entire... It used to be very difficult to track one of these down. This is the entire... brand or season booklet that they give to employees so they know how to talk about stuff, I think.
Got it.
Talking about how they do their leather tanning, where they do it. They've got references to specific collections.
Oh.
It's been happening since 2023, I guess, is when they started adding the QR code. Really cool. I did not know that this was... I don't even know if this is something you can navigate to with the regular product guide.
If you'd like to join the Discord, message us and ask for this link, and we'll send it over. Also, if you just like the link, we can send that over as well.
It is apparently just a standard page on the Rick Owens website.
But I do think that ESPR, is going to be quite impactful, and we're not going to see it immediately. But I think that the presence of fines is going to be quite important. I think that the traceability is going to be quite important. And I think that the EU forcing transparency into these sort of things and allowing consumers to make their own decisions is going to be really important. The other thing that the EU is doing is there is a current proposed tax on each item of clothing that comes into the EU. I believe it ranges from 50 cents to $2. And that sort of thing adds up. The fashion industry produces, I believe, $100 billion worth of garments every year, which is quite a lot. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but there are more clothes produced every year than there are people, I think.
Oh, absolutely, easily.
Maybe that number is wrong. Maybe it's 100 billion garments every year. I don't want to throw out a number that I'm not confident in, but point being, I think that once you start incentivizing people economically and financially to think about the decisions that they're making, they will start making different decisions.
The thing is, like, transparency is good.
Yes.
And I appreciate transparency. Is it one of those things that only matters to the people that already care about it? Like, a lot of people are just going to be buying shit and not care. Like, there's a QR code. They're not even going to look at that.
I think it's sort of like the nutritional labels on the back of food, where if you make the information available, I think eventually enough people will get curious, and it makes it easier for people to do research on it and be aware of it. And I think that while it may not be for the people that don't care about it, the people that do will be able to more easily talk about it and communicate it, like on the news. Good example, in Mexico, on a lot of the food, there are now labels that say like excess sodium, excess fat, excess calories, and
Excess child labor.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big black label on the food, and people were quite angry when it came out. The food producers were quite angry when it came out, but it made people aware, and I think it's shown to have a market effect on what food people buy. And even if they're still buying the food, they are aware that what they are eating is not healthy. So I think a similar thing may happen. I also think that even outside of the EU, if a company is beholden to these regulations in the EU, they're just going to do it across their entire supply chain. So I think brands that, are pretty large enterprises, whether it be even a brand like the Kooples, pretty big, will probably start doing this in advance of 2030 if they are a medium-sized enterprise, and start improving their supply chain.
There are 80 to 150 billion garments made a year.
Fuck.
Which is
What the fuck?
like at least 12 garments per person in the world. That's crazy.
Yeah. There's some really encouraging numbers about the secondhand clothing market, which are really interesting. I was talking again to the former head of sustainability at Theory. Older populations are starting to care about circularity and materiality. And I think that there's the perception that clothing made in general today is not as good as a lot of the things that were being made in the 90s. Like CK collection is really big right now. People love Calvin Klein, especially that 90s stuff. And I think that the perception sometimes with vintage is that even if it's not better, like a single stitch shirt, the quality of the materials and the build of it is going to be better. And true or not, I think that that is the perception.
Yeah. And, I think that there are a lot of like cheap new clothes that are made that are actually quite durable.
Yeah.
Even if they're ugly.
Oh, yeah.
But the perception of older stuff being better is always consistently there. I still stand by, like, I think that if you want clothes that last forever, you just need to go to Walmart and buy a pair of Carhartt pants and like t-shirts, and that's it.
Yeah.
But it's not really what it's about.
I have Uniqlo shirts that I bought in 2018. I remember buying them. I got 3 black, 3 white shirts. One of the black shirts fell apart, and I spilled bleach on it. But I still have 5 of those shirts, and I wear them every week.
I feel like I really struggle to tell because my clothes and stuff fall apart, and I just keep wearing them anyways.
Yeah.
I don't really know.
The other thing I want to talk about. So some of the production is moving to Italy. There is a town, I'm blanking the name, north of Prato. I think that's how you pronounce it. Sorry, Italians. That does a lot of the production now. And then there is a huge factory that I was looking into in specific because I was curious about it, called Marzotto Fabrics. And they do a lot of the wool and men's suiting that you see today. And the luxury brands have been working with them, as I understand it, for the fabrics. And then a lot of the, I wouldn't say non-luxury because that's a little bit charged, but think like, I don't know, like a Rag and Bone. Have started going to them for suiting.
Like a high-end mall brand.
Sure. Have started going to them for suiting, and they are a huge company, and they're obviously working out of Italy. And I think that, again, the perception of the fashion industry is that everything is made in China, but I think that there are specialized producers now that are really good at what they do. And we're going to start seeing, in my perspective here, a huge shift in where things are made. I think that wool production, probably going to be Australia, EU, China as well.
There's
I think
also
polyester is staying in China because they're really good at producing polyester. But with some of these regulations, certain chemicals are banned. There's another regulation called REACH, I believe, that bans the use of certain dyes and chemicals from being put into clothing because it's very hard to get rid of. And I think the big chemical of note is, if I'm not mistaken, cadmium-6.
what happened to the first 5?
They got banned.
If I didn't see the first 5 cadmiums, will I be confused?
Well, no,
if I
Freddy comes back in cadmium-6.
Which is the one where they're in space?
That's cadmium-4, probably.
Okay, tight.
But I really respect the EU for trying to push sort of like the linear use of clothing into more of a circular thing, whether it be in forcing the brands that are producing the clothes to take responsibility for end of life, or just making consumers more aware of how to properly dispose things, allowing them to get things fixed or remade. And like great example is Patagonia. A lot of discussion about that brand that we could have, but I still think they are committed to, one, they take anything that you have bought from them back and will either fix it or issue a partial refund for the product if it's broken. And they will dispose of it properly for the item that is not in use anymore. And if anything breaks, they will make a good faith attempt to mend it, which is really nice.
That is very cool.
So I think we might see a comeback of mending industries because the EU is pushing a lot of money into projects that bolster that.
But people are still going to be making the same amount of clothes. Like, we're still going to get the same amount of production into the world, and it's too much. I know what there's not. People aren't. I mean, do you think that 12 garments per person in the world get consumed a year?
Consumed, like put into the garbage?
No, like used,
Purchased.
like bought. Yeah.
I think
there's got to be a ton of stuff that just doesn't get purchased. There is.
Yeah. So another thing about ESPR is they are banning destruction of unsold goods. I think those large enterprises are banned from doing it immediately, and they're pretty heavy fines, as I understand it. I could be wrong on the size of the fine. And then small or medium-sized enterprises are allowed to do it until 2030. But I assume that they are changing the way that you can dispose things. I don't think you can do the Burberry and just start burning things.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting, and it's quite encouraging and exciting that the EU as a whole is really pushing this forward. And with a global market like fashion and like clothing, because a lot of these brands operate across multiple continents, the EU making these regulations raises the floor for everybody, right? So a lot of these brands that operate out of the US and
it's
the EU,
not even stuff produced in the EU. It's any brand with.
if they're selling it in
They're
the EU,
selling. Oh, yeah. So you just kind of have to.
kind of got to do it.
Kind of got to do it. But it's mostly a change to tags, or.
I think it's change the tags and clothes themselves. So you have to know what's in it. You have to know where it came from. You have to know the dyes used. And if that information isn't available, you get fined.
So all the Red 40 clothes are going to America.
I should hope so. I think that this is sort of a really interesting supply and demand thing where you're not necessarily changing the demand for the clothes, but you are changing potentially the supply. If things are getting more expensive and harder to produce in accordance with a regulation, supply will go down. If you know your supply and demand curves, demand starts like this, supply goes like this. And if you shift the demand curve in, the total production goes down and the price goes up. So I think clothes might get more expensive, probably good. Secondhand will probably stay slightly cheap. But my big prediction in all of this that I think is going to happen as a result of these regulations is that a lot of brands will start selling secondhand clothing or their own clothing refurbished in their stores. And I noticed this. I was going wedding dress shopping with my friend Lindsay. And
Is Lindsay getting married?
No, she's going to a wedding.
Gotcha.
Sorry, I don't know how to frame that. We're going shopping for a dress she could wear to a wedding.
Yeah, the wedding dress shopping is a specifically reserved name.
But the Reformation in the Lower East Side of New York sells vintage dresses. And I was like, that's crazy because Reformation does really well. A lot of women love their dresses. They look great in them. Great. Yay. But I was really surprised to find that they're selling vintage clothing that may not even be Reformation in their own store.
Saint Laurent was selling vintage band tees last season, but for like fucking like $700 or something stupid.
That's my prediction. I think we're going to see a lot of brands start selling secondhand clothes that add to their like ethos of the brand. So Saint Laurent probably selling band tees, Bodie probably selling really ugly burlap sacks.
Bodie just selling those
Catching
coffee
straight
bags that
from
roasters,
the top rope. Wow, fuck Bodie.
Roasters always give out those coffee bags for free. You go to a coffee shop and they've just got bags of them, and they're like, "Yeah, if you want some, take them."
Emily Bodie's in the back with a Sharpie,
Just writing Bodie on them.
that'll be $800. I think it's a very exciting time right now, to be honest. And I think that particularly within fashion, it's very easy to feel, honestly, kind of hopeless about the environmental sustainability of it all. But I think that these regulations will be a push in the right direction and force the fashion industry at least to start thinking about how they produce clothes.
Tangent.
Let's hear it.
So Levi's Big E jeans, those are like up to the 80s they were doing that.
70s, I believe.
70s, they stopped in the 70s. So what's interesting is like LVC, Levi's Vintage Clothing, now does repros of that. But very shortly after they discontinued it in the early 90s, maybe even 80s, there was a branch of Levi's in Japan that already started doing repro stuff. I learned about this the other day.
Before 1971, so I was right about the 70s.
Okay, but it's like 60s they stopped doing it.
Yeah,
essentially.
you can be pretty safe they stopped in the 60s.
So, and I didn't realize that, like, I've always been confused why they just made it a lowercase and then they've just never gone. They're just like, yep, that's the logo from now on. But my newest thing to sort of manically search on the internet but not want to buy is Japanese repros of 70s Big E jeans, which are, because if you find like actual American Big E Levi's jeans at this point, they're like $600 or something absurd.
I've bought and sold a couple of pairs. If you know somebody who has them, you can get them for $200-$300.
If you know somebody who has them, which is a big caveat. But Levi's, like Japan, so they're still 30-year-old pants. They're still like well-made, well-worn in,
A lot
beat
more than
up.
30 now, 40.
No, 90s.
Oh, 90s. I thought you were saying 80s.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They're still like worn in, beat up, repaired. Like they're like what a nice vintage pair of jeans would have been in like the 2000s, I guess, where it was like from the 70s. But they are much, much cheaper. So like you could get like the cool vintage worn in actual good selvage denim jeans without having to buy brand new LVC, because a lot of that stuff's kind of butt now.
Do you want to know a secret about Big E jeans?
Biggie. What?
They fit like shit.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, those were, keep in mind, people have gotten a lot bigger and stronger in the years, and people have gotten a lot taller. I believe in the 1940s.
Well, I haven't gotten taller.
The 1940s, the average American man was like 5'6", maybe 5'5", and like 140, right? Like really small. Nowadays, pretty big boy. Big and strong. But you give me a pair of jeans for a guy that was 5'5" and maybe 230 pounds, because we did have the same waist size. Those will not fit.
All I'm getting is that I'm still good.
Fit like ass. You're probably great. But especially for larger people, I would class myself as a larger person. Those Big E's are not going to fit you super well. And honestly, the modern repros, not that bad. I'm very usually diametrically opposed to shitty reproductions, but these aren't. The other cool thing is a lot of trading companies, because I was looking into this as well, are moving in Japan. There's a huge manufacturing hub for textiles and clothing in the south of Japan. And so because it sits, I think, sort of close enough to China, close enough to Australia, close enough to the US, they're becoming, I think, a hub, not only again, but they are a hub. And I think we might start seeing a lot of really fun, new, interesting textiles in the same way that we did in the fashion world in the early 2000s, coming out of Japan, coming out of the EU, as people try and use different dyes to get similar vibrant colors that aren't going to fucking kill you and kill the environment.
Did I talk about my Red Dead Redemption obsession on this podcast?
No, let's hear it. I would love to hear about this.
I've been playing that game so much.
I remember you started and said it kind of sucked.
Yeah, well, I'm stuck into it now. I'm like involved. I'm deeply emotionally attached to the character that I'm playing.
Arthur Morgan?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And bad things are happening to him.
Oh.
But it's got me wanting to dress like a fucking cowboy again, which is a drastic shift in my life. I'm not going to give in completely. I'm still the Rick boy. It's somewhere in there. I'm getting a cowboy hat somehow. But
I actually think it's a cool story. Tell the story about how you're getting the cowboy hat.
I made a TikTok a long time ago, 2 years ago, about how I have a big fat head that doesn't fit into most hats, and I need to special order big fat hats for my big fat head. Extra large big fat hat heads.
Sounds like I wanted to be mean to him.
For my big fat head. Anyways, I made a TikTok about that, and
Sorry.
2 years ago, and some guy reached out to me and said, "Hey, I saw your TikTok. Would you want me to like make you a hat? Would you like look at what I make?" And I did not see the message. And then, why are you laughing so much? I didn't see the message. It like got lost in my requests, and then the other day I posted like a screenshot of my Red Dead Redemption character, and I was like, what if I just started dressing like this? And he responded again, and he was like, "Hey, do you want me to make you a hat?"
That's pretty good.
Alexander Jerzak. I cannot.
Jerzak.
Jerzak.
I believe so.
It's Poland. It's Polish. So Alex. Oh, sorry. ALEKSANDER _JURCZAK. He makes like artisanal cowboy hats of sorts, and like the type of shit Bailey would wear quite often.
Type of shit. Like if you were into Yoji and also weren't into messaging underage women,
you might wear this. It's good shit. But I'm getting a cowboy hat. What I have been looking at recently, I've been looking at repros of Levi's 702s.
Oh my god.
Which is really bad. Like the 1920s buckleback, suspender buttons, minor ass jeans.
Oh, so maybe if you're wearing the Yoji hat.
Minor with an E.
Oh, okay.
MINER ass jeans. And I don't think I'm gonna buy a pair, but
They're not that expensive.
No, you can get them for like $80 if you look in the right place. And I keep being tempted to buy a pair, but I know I would wear them once, be like, yeehaw, and then probably never wear them again and put on some pod shorts.
Do you know the brand of jeans that I've been after for a long time?
What?
These are like, I believe, Style Zeitgeist Darling. Atelier La Durance. Do you remember these? With the square pockets?
No.
Oh my god. So they were really popular in like 2015.
La Durance?
Yeah. LADURANCE.
La Durance.
La Durance. And they've got these really distinctive, like, squarish pockets.
Oh my
in the back.
god.
You like that shit?
Oh my god, these. What the fuck, these?
Yeah.
I forgot about these. Right? They're kind of like they're like heritage-esque raw denim workwear stuff, but made in like a really kind of buckle tap out shirt kind of way. You know what I mean? Like they've got like gaudy decorative back pockets, and like you know, they don't know what to do to make them cool, so they put the belt loops in weird places and shit, and like
it's like if True Religion got really serious about making selvage denim and lost the plot a little bit on the True Religion for like 2 years.
I am almost positive that I had an apron, a raw denim apron
from Atelier La Durance.
Something like that. I won a contest. I won a giveaway, and it might have been them. It was someone. I had a raw denim apron with like leather pockets for a while. I don't even know what happened to it. I might have gotten rid of it, which is crazy because I would be fucking barbecuing the shit out of that thing right now if I could.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
I can't believe you want 702. That's amazing.
I I'm not into 702s. I'm into the idea of 702s.
Okay.
I want to get a pair. I want to put them on.
Me with French women.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. See, you get it. I want to like
Wow.
I want to like own them, but I don't want to go out dressed that cowboy because like no one will be able to tell that I'm doing it in like a cool cowboy way and not like a I don't know.
I think you just have to tell
a
him.
dork with of mice and men in his chore coat pocket way. Indistinguishable.
Tanner Dean catching a stray or whoop out.
No, Tanner Dean works at Tom Brown now. He doesn't even have time to. He posts his daily outfit and it's the same suit every day now. I wonder if he's
love
taking
Tanner.
new
He's such a
pictures or if
sweetie.
he's just reposting the same one every day. Actually, honestly, I've really sympathized with this. Like, Tanner used to work at Celine, and he didn't have to wear Celine every day. I don't think he could just dress cool and like within the vibe. And Tanner is like built to dress Celine. Like he just looks, he looks that way all the time, anyways.
Slightly sheepish.
Well, I was
Art
gonna say
boy?
he's always wearing like big cropped like jeans and like a tucked in white band tee or something.
Oh
like-
no, but you know that one photo of Eddie where he has like hands in his
You mean
pockets?
every photo of Eddie?
Yeah, okay, fair
Every
enough.
single picture of Eddie, not a single one is he not doing this pose. Like he's perfectly slips into the the face he makes when he wants cuddles, food, or sex. You know the one I'm talking about? Yannick, can we get the face he makes when he wants cuddles, food, or sex? And then we could get literally any picture of Eddie off of Google Images, any of them. It's the same face. And he perfectly slips into it. If you ever see like a fan stop to take a picture with Eddie and post it, he immediately locks in, hands in pocket, knees twisted in, elbows poked outwards, head down, looking up. He locks the fuck in. You cannot find a picture of Eddie not doing that face, not doing that pose.
You know the one pose of Lin-Manuel Miranda?
It's that. It's that. It's the
Like he's
exact
trying not to
same
shit
shit.
himself.
It's the Lin-Manuel Miranda pose every time. He just like you could probably try and take a pic. It's like, I hate to say this, it's like the How I Met Your Mother Barney thing where they take a picture of him and he's immediately like perfect. You try and catch him off guard and you look at the photo, you print it out, you get your film developed, and he's like hitting the stare. Anyways, I feel a lot of sympathy for Tanner Dean, who's someone who used to be able to like wear a lot of different things every day because he kind of like rotates through a lot of different styles, and now he has to wear a suit, the same suit, every goddamn day.
Oh, welcome to the summer.
And in the summer, well, I guess you can wear like skirts, and you go to work without your button-up shirt on, and I don't know. Eddie Slamont. Look at him
Yeah, he hits it in every single picture.
immediately.
He is
Immediately,
very good at being baby girl.
he hits that baby girl shit immediately. No one's ever seen. No one's.
Him on the left, he got old, dog.
Yeah, of course he got old.
You never know.
He was born in 1960. He's 56, bro. Oh, man. 56 and still wearing skinny jeans. Come on, bro. Come on, Unk.
Grown ass man.
Grown-ass man wearing skinny jeans and a striped t-shirt. Come on.
He's French.
He is French. He's always hitting this.
Yeah. Is Eddie Slimane the Donald Trump of? I don't want to know what that last sentence is.
Is Eddie Slimane the Donald Trump of fashion?
Was he in the Epstein files?
Probably. This is weird. I don't even know what's going on. I don't know what kind of comparison they're making, but I think it sucks. Fuck you, the Hollywood Reporter, preemptively.
Catch a stray, Hollywood Reporter.
That's not a stray, that's direct.
Atelier
Ledorance, I don't think that they were not style Zeitgeist, maybe style Forum,
Oh, you might be right.
and maybe Super Future.
They were a super future brand.
It's very, and they have some really bad.
They're really bad.
Like pre-distressed jeans. They made raw denim, but they're very like G-Star Raw adjacent.
Yeah, I think. Oh my God. Do you remember Black Denim?
BLCK.
BLK DNM. They had a store right across from
Yes.
the Supreme on Lafayette. I remember I went in there once.
They're still around.
Yeah, they are.
And
They make good jeans. They had the Geth ripoffs, didn't they?
Did
Was
they?
I think that was. Oh no, that might have been G-Star.
G-Star had the deck jeans, the
Deck
women's
jeans.
deck
Yeah.
jeans, which were a pretty much a not quite a Geth ripoff, but like a Rick Big Pant ripoff. They were quite good, honestly.
Yeah.
If you got the right material. Marco wears a black denim
Jacket.
leather jacket.
Looks absolutely
Looks
incredible.
good. It's been beat to shit, and that's why it looks good.
Wear your clothes, people.
Wear your
It's
clothes.
very important.
You want to get a pair of these jeans?
Kind of for funny sake, but they like it's one of those things like dating a French woman where you lie in your bed and you think about it and you'd be like, oh, it'd be so great. Oh, it'd be so perfect. And then you look at them and you're like, oh, French. You know what I mean?
You look at them and you're like, beautiful. And then you talk to them and you're like, French.
French. They do the thing where they take a pull of a cigarette. It's like, okay, you can exhale before you answer me. There's no rush.
Just slow down. Slow down. It's not going anywhere. You have a whole
to
pack.
say something slightly insensitive through that.
Do you remember PRPS jeans?
Oh my God.
Purpose?
I feel like these conversations are the equivalent of us chasing each other with the nostalgia hammer and just seeing who can hit each other harder.
But it's that same idea where it was like they took nice Japanese denim and it was a Japanese based company and they made hideous like G-Star type like curved hem, bad distressing, really, really fake white lines like bleached in for whiskers. You know what I'm talking about?
I think we got to get into this.
I mean, the thing is, jeans like that are coming back. Like, people are wearing the, like, ugly, gaudy, like, rock revival type jeans.
I think we're going to get there just by virtue of everybody getting into selvage denim. And then you're going to get, like, the irony pilled, and I don't want to invoke a name here because I refuse to give free clout to losers who are going to find selvage denim and be like, oh, I can speed run this. And they will start bleaching in lines and taking Dremels to things.
Oh, there's gonna be a TikTok kid doing that for sure. I think I've already seen some of that actually.
You know what? As long as the kids are having fun,
Yeah.
you know.
I feel it's so annoying. Like I posted a video about people misunderstanding selvage denim and a bunch of Zoomers were in my comments like, oh, because we're not supposed to wear baggy jeans. That's not it. You should wear baggy jeans.
Methinks the lady doth protest too much. I had one last thing I wanted to talk about. I asked the Discord about this. Remember to join the Discord. Oh, fuck me. You know what? We'll have to cut this in. I'll announce it now as well. We're doing a giveaway for this
do that
episode.
at the beginning of the episode.
I'm stupid. We've already announced it. We're so good at this. But there is a startup that got funded like $15 million. And their whole thing is that they are a shopping app that you allow them to make a digital avatar of you. And then using AI, they put you in close.
Right.
And you can see what the outfit would look like on you. And a lot of the testers of the app were like, I feel like that isn't what my body looks like. But I feel like giving an AI company unfettered access to your likeness and your body, and I assume a bunch of scans of your body and your face, slightly fucked work just to reduce the effort of going into the store and trying on an outfit.
Oh, I also can't imagine like digitally putting on an outfit and being like, yes, I understand how I would like it's not going to feel any different than looking at it on a model.
Yep.
It's your face slapped on. Just Photoshop your face over the models and see what it looks like. I don't think that you're actually going to answer the question you have by getting a AI model of yourself to try something on. You need to wear it. You need to be in it.
I think there's also only really 4 sizes of clothes: small, medium, large, extra large. Also extra small. Wow. That app is going to optimize what that looks like on you. Not only are you going to buy it, be disappointed with the fit, you can take it to a tailor and they're going to fuck with it. And then that's more money and then you can't return it.
I can't imagine, like, does that app know, like, if I scan myself into that app and then ask it to put me in a size 38 pair of jeans, would it understand does it understand the actual dimensions of these items and the dimensions of my body? Or is it just going to be like, yep, here's that item, I scaled it to roughly fit your shape, but it doesn't actually tell me what size that would be?
I think it's the latter rather than the former, and then it makes an educated guess based on a size chart.
So it's still not even going to answer the question.
I think this comes back to men being scared to go try on clothes.
It also comes back to AI is the current billion-dollar buzzword, and everybody is fighting for some way to try and like make it profitable, and it's kind of not a lot of the time.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I have an idea that would use this like they're taking this tool and kind of trying to hammer it into any task that they can find just for the sake of like being the ones who do that. Some guy got kicked out of the male fashion device Discord.
Ooh.
Because he kept uploading people's fits into his AI fit reviewer tool or fit like description tool. Like he would send them the results where he took their outfit and ran it through his like, it's supposed to like see what you're wearing and like talk about it and like, kind of slightly poetically talk about, it's a shell wrapped around like a GPT photo analyzer with vague instructions to talk about it in like a fashion sense and like describe the atmosphere or the outing it's meant for, whatever. So that's shitty. And like that tool's not going, no one gives a fuck, but it's also so dumb. I uploaded a picture of the pig that's pooped on its own ball sack. I uploaded it like 100 times, but the first time I uploaded it, it said, this is an insanely relatable outfit. It has nothing to do with what you upload. It looks at what you're uploading. It might as well be a random generator of sentences, because if it can look at that picture, a pig with its own poop resting on its unusually large ball sack, and say, oh, this is an outfit because I've been trained to look at outfits, so this must be an outfit, and it's relatable. This is a relatable outfit. Would you like to hear what it said?
Yeah. Who among us hasn't shat on their own unusually large ball sack?
And worn it to an event.
Dear listener, and ask bravely, who hasn't?
and I uploaded that picture like 20 times. I uploaded it a lot, and he banned my account. So I made a new account, and the guy doing this that says like satire requires clarity of purpose, except it said, if your AI model calls a picture of poop balls insanely relatable, maybe it's not looking at fits at all. And then I uploaded that about 20 times.
I fucking love you, Michael Smith. Love you so much.
He banned that account too.
Please tell me to have some name like Fitzler.
Fitzler.
I don't know. Something like this.
I'll find it. Hold on. I will find it.
Oh my goodness me.
So the caption, the title that it gave the picture of poop balls was Interior Monologues of a Pig. Oh. So it knew there was a pig there.
Sure.
It is 50% normcore, 30% cottagecore, and 20% vintage.
Oh, of course.
There's something absurdly relatable about this fit. Like, where are we going? A quaint tea party that turned into a Pinterest board gone rogue? Maybe they're channeling all the vintage fairs they've never visited, slipping on that worn shirt like it's a safety blanket. Or maybe there's just a deep longing for simple moments among the chaos of existence. They shift awkwardly, reminding me of very cozy afternoons spent unearthing forgotten treasures at flea markets. But I'm lost in my own nostalgia, wondering if I'll ever feel that comfortable in my own skin. Amor fati. Endless TikToks of vlogs where nothing happens. That one thrifted sweater you wear too often. A late night Instagram scroll through people's pets. A stark contrast of joy and sadness while baking bread.
This is poop balls?
This is the... And then another time I upload it, the weight of all that's unsaid. Oh. In the soft glow of twilight, this fit feels like a whisper of rebellion, with layers draped over an unraveling heart. Well, a frayed flannel, remnants of a past self, clashes beautifully against shadowy denim. It's a conversation about melancholy, perhaps not meant for anyone else. They walk with a fever dream energy, the kind that hints at secrets and late night confessions but remains just out of reach. Is it nostalgia or just a deep sigh? And this is 50% grunge, 30% darkwear, and 20% vintage.
I'm looking at a photo of a pig with shit on his pole.
I uploaded that same picture so many times and got completely different descriptions of the outfit every time. There is absolutely no way that this is in any way paying attention to... It's called Lekondo, Lekondo. I don't want to give him web traffic, but also if you wanted to go upload pig with poop on its balls to that thing 100 times, I wouldn't tell you not to. Honestly, keep doing it and you might run out his ChatGPT trial. And then all would be good. But it's just insane.
Oh my God.
It's so bad. And like... It's just this idea that you have to take AI and you have to apply it to everything in any capacity. And it's not actually doing, like, it's making words, but it's in no way connected to what you're actually doing. Yeah, here. If your AI model calls Poopball Pig an absurdly relatable outfit, then maybe it is just spewing bullshit for everything and not actually analyzing it all.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, AI is not great. Kids in my graduate program that you paid a lot of money every semester put in every single class and every single assignment into it and had it explain it. And I was like, hey, crazy idea. You've got a professor who is one of the world's experts in this talking to you. If he's not, or she, or they are not making sense, maybe you ask the expert rather than ChatGPT. I don't know. Crazy idea, everybody.
Crazy idea.
Went to the last thing, Kosaburo sample sale.
That's where my baby tea came from.
And they had my dream jacket.
Oh, he found it. Have we talked about this coat on pod before?
I don't think we have. So we visited our very good friend Taku at the Kosaburo house. They're since moving, but Taku was doing, this is when we were making the shed for our pop-up. Bang, bang, bang. Building. Lighting these on fire. Really cool. We went down to the basement and the Kosaburo team has kept basically everything. In a big, I wouldn't say vault, but yeah.
There's a room in the basement that has had every sample they've ever made since 2017.
And a lot of references and things like that. And so one of the things that really caught my eye was this blue coat from a very old company called Hirsch Wickwire or Wickham. I think it was Wickwire. And what it is was a garment manufacturer in Chicago in the, I believe it ran from 1917 to 1941, right before the war, and slightly through it. But the coat is beautiful. It's like 6 layers. There's thick wool. There's like a horsehair layer. There's a like a twill layer, yada, yada, yada. And then there's a silk lining. And I saw the coat and I tried it on and it fit me perfectly. And I was like, I have to have this. And I was like, Taku, can I buy this? He was like, no. I was like, okay. So I went home and in my mania looked through and I found photos, I found documents, I found descriptions of the factory, and I found photos of the employees. And I looked everywhere. I exhausted literally every single one of my leads looking for another one of these coats and nobody had one. I couldn't even find a sold one. I was like, well, that's it, right? That's the one coat. I don't know how Kosaburo team got their hands on it.
I'm assuming it's just like I feel like they poke around thrift stores for stuff.
Yep.
It's just happened to stumble upon it at the right time.
Yep. And so we show up to the sample cell. We're in the first room, which has a lot of really good Kosaburo stuff. And we were talking to Jasmine. And I was like, oh, is there another room? She was like, yeah, there's some vintage stuff in the other room. And I was like, oh my God. Took off. Sprint. Into the other room. And what is there on the coat rack but the coat? And Kosaburo's in there. A couple members of the team are in there. And I'm like, is this for sale? And he says, yes. I grabbed it and ran back into the other room. And I was like, Jasmine, I'm buying this. And so the inside of the coat's kind of shredded. The lining has been sort of picked apart and put back on and then picked apart and then put back on. But the rest of the coat is in perfect condition. Does not look a day past 1923, which is when I've dated that coat too.
It's got the name of the the owner on it.
DS Lewis.
DS Lewis.
Or DM Lewis.
This shit
pardon me.
Lewis.
It's DM, my bad. Direct
Dungeon
message.
Master Lewis.
Oh, Daft Monk. I'm sorry, I made myself laugh at that one. But bought the coat. It was $350, which kind of expensive for the coat of your dreams. Pretty good. I also got a pair of pants, but they were selling some other really, really good vintage pieces that were all too small for me. One of which being, I think it was a really early 1900s motorcycle coat. You know,
1900s?
that really, oh yeah.
Whoa.
I think that was between World War I and World War II, if not earlier.
Damn.
You know the one I'm talking about, the really boxy one?
No, I didn't see it.
Really boxy motorcycle jacket. It would fold open and have a lapel, but if not, it literally was like a rectangle with two arms put on it. Like that very like, I have a sidecar and I'm wearing the big goggles and I've got a scarf. That
And my
sort
little
of thing.
dog is in the sidecar next to me, also wearing scarf, goggles, and a helmet.
And I really wanted that one, but it was way too big in the body and then really short in the arms. I don't know who was wearing that, but really great sample sale. Michael got really good coat, one of the sack coats.
I got the coat that matches my calligraphy jeans, which I also saw when we visited Taku.
Yeah.
And also was like, I need to come back specifically for the sample sale. I need to be the first one in the door, and I need to find this coat before anybody else buys it, because I'm the one with the pants, and I need the full set. And then Mark Boudelier was looking at a leather jacket, and he chickened out, and I was like, well, fuck, I can't let that not get bought. I can't let that like drift out of the circle of people I know. Like if Mark bought it, that's fine. At least I know where it is, and I can come buy it off him when he never wears it in a couple years. But if I don't buy it and someone else does, it's lost. It's lost forever. I can never buy it again. So I also bought that and a baby tee.
Had a really good pair of pleated pants too. Just in time for the summer. Heavy ass wool pants and heavy ass wool jacket.
And a leather jacket and a denim stupid ass. So one more thing. One thing that
Love that.
just
Daft
a
Punk
small
song.
Do you know about the sugarcane collectibles series? So sugarcane denim. You know of them. You are aware of them. You've heard of them
Once or twice.
once or twice. You have sugarcane jeans?
I used to.
Okay. They do this thing that I really respect but would never want to own, which is that they find an old archive piece, like one specific one, and perfectly model it down to the thread count and the fuck ups and the like every single aspect of it. And a lot of the time they're doing this with like World War II era, like the materials were in short supply and skilled workmen were not always like the labor had to shift. There was a lot of more unskilled workers taking over the jobs. It was like all the men got sent off to war and the women and kids were making the Levi's jackets and shit or whatever. And so some
You're
like
calling women unskilled.
Yes, I am.
From the top rope.
So this is an exact recreation. It's on
Whoa.
Self Edge. It's the collectibles number 8. It's a 1943 repro of an exact jacket they pulled out. And it's like it was sewn wrong. Like the placket's kind of slanted.
Crazy.
It's like one of those pleated the type 1 jacket where there's like box pleats that have little like stitched things in them, but the stitches that hold the pleats down are completely wrong. There's loose threads around the cuff, like all of the cuff. The patch is sewn way too low. There's fabric like the threading. There's loose threads poking out of all of the seams. It's like a really poorly made jacket,
but intentionally.
It looks bad. It looks like it was like it looks poorly made, and it is an exact to the stitch recreation of a jacket that someone accidentally made badly. It's insane.
They're doing jazz music.
Yes, they're doing jazz music.
You learn how to do it so well so you can do some really fucked up stuff.
And they did not make it in a 44 specifically because they would have needed to make it a T-back and that was never made. So they skipped the size. I don't know why a 42 and a 46 were made. Like, what's the difference in a 44?
I don't know. That's really crazy.
So they and you look at it on the model on Self Edge. Yannick, I'll send you the link. Could you throw that up there? And it looks bad on him.
Well,
like it'll be fine once it wears in, but it's like sitting askew, and like you can see all these loose threads. It looks like you bought it cheap, but if you look at it close, you can see like the denim is actually quite.
It looks like you got a 7-year-old to like, hey, could you draw a denim jacket on someone?
Yeah, it's really wonky
With a crayon.
It's just so like, it's like, yeah. 1943 model represents a product manufactured during one of the most challenging years for material control within the U.S. Amidst the harsh conditions of World War II. So they had to recreate a kind of poorly made denim.
That's so sick.
Where like the denim itself was like not woven very evenly because again there was like a lot of the people who worked in those factories got sent off to the war.
Pretty good. Not getting sent off to the war, the jacket.
Yeah. And then it's to save on materials, they turned it into a 4-button jacket instead of a 5-button jacket. Pocket flaps were removed in the 40s because they took up too much. Yeah. And then they did a bunch of intensive effort to recreate the exact hue of indigo. Like the oxidized indigo that was specific to like that era. And then they fully remade steel strap buckles. So like the back strap used to be insanely sharp.
Yeah.
Because like current buckles, they just pressure fit.
Yeah.
So like the denim goes in, wraps around the buckle and tucks back in. And then it's sort of held just by the pressure of this metal pressing into it. Because it's way safer. Like I'll show you on these, they're like the belt doesn't actually get stabbed through. But they used to be made with really sharp points that were meant to stab through the denim to hold it in place.
Got it.
And now they don't do that, but they did properly add like actual sharp, like steel, like punctures onto here, I believe. It's just crazy.
I have a ton of respect for things like this.
Yeah. This is so incredible to me to like care so much about the heritage of something. Like so many people are like trying to make modern versions of this stuff. And I really respect the like, look, things were kind of weird back then. And I want to do my best to perfectly recreate that.
I imagine that this is just as much as an exercise of making something cool and unique as it is almost testing their team's capabilities.
Yeah.
Where I imagine, you've been making jeans, let's say for 25 years, right? And Sugarcane makes great jeans. And they've sort of done almost everything, I assume, with modern tech and modern capability. And somebody comes and says, hey, how would you like to try and make this weird fucked up buckle or this new oxidizing process or denim that kind of sucks but intentionally? And I'd be like, oh my God, yeah, absolutely.
Doing all the things that someone had to accidentally fuck up with perfect precision is much more difficult than making a perfect pair of jeans at this point, I would say. Like, we've got all this like technology and it's so easy to make stuff correctly. And now you have to fuck it up in the exact way that one person 70 years ago fucked something up. And they have jeans. They have like this pair of jeans has way too much chain stitch runoff and the back like yoke does not align. Oh wait, the pockets are, the pocket bags are made from flannel fabric because cotton usage was really regulated. Rough sewing stitches, misaligned back yoke, imperfect hemming.
That's so cool.
And like, yeah, the hem, they accidentally folded over the selvage line and they did like a horrible job of connecting the chain stitch. And there's like all sorts of, and the thing is like, this isn't just like, hey, take this pair of pants and make them kind of bad. It's like, hey, take this bad pair of pants and perfectly recreate every mistake that someone made on them.
Did you ever watch...
then do that for full size runs of every single pair of pants.
Do you know Baumgartner Restorations?
No.
They are a YouTube page, and it's a guy who specializes in fine art restoration. Oh. It's incredible to watch. They are really good at what they do. They are meticulous. Mm-hmm. But this the practice of doing it with the jeans reminds me a lot of this, where it's you need to be incredibly skilled to do it and also pay attention to everything that went wrong and not only understand that that is how it is supposed to be,
Yes.
but that you have to keep it like that and then keep it almost intentionally shitty because the intentionally shitty is what makes good.
Yeah.
This is incredible. I'm such a fan of this. I also think that obviously this is not possible for every team. This would be an incredible, incredible, incredible thing. Think about, great example. The first Birkin is going back on sale.
Oh,
Jane Birkin's Birkin, right?
good God.
I imagine Kim Kardashian will be buying that basically immediately. But if the Hermes team, went and made
An exact recreation
Exactly.
of it, fucked up in the exact same way.
you could sell that for, I'd guess, close to $100,000. Do a limited run of 10, and those I think would sell out within seconds.
To bring it back to LVC, the modern like Levi's repro thing, a lot of what they're doing is finding archived jeans. Like they're finding, they must like have a team that goes out and buys like old Levi's to sort of just keep in their catalog. And sometimes they are doing, maybe not to this extent, but they are like perfectly recreating as much as they can, like the wear pattern that was found on a specific old pair of pants.
We should see if we could find somebody from the
Yeah.
LVC team.
That would be really cool. I love this stuff. I love
the collar.
yeah, it's bad.
It's so interesting. Sorry, we're now just looking at a web page. Yannick, if you could throw a photo up and just
Yeah, I'll send
cycle
you some
through it
links.
as we're reacting.
So
Wow.
it's really cool. I wouldn't want to wear it. I wouldn't pay the $500 or $600. I'm sure someone out there would and would wear it into the ground. But it's definitely not for me. But I just love to know that someone is out there with this level of obsession doing this.
I mean,
Really cool.
yeah, I think we all have our beautiful, like, special interest. And if somebody saw this, they would not. And the price, like, sounds weird.
$500 is not crazy for I mean, that's kind of what a sugarcane denim jacket
costs.
costs, I think. Maybe even more.
And I assume it's a really limited. I imagine their margins on this are not big. 500.
Oh, they're actually not that
I mean, that one. I'd rather the old one than that one.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I was actually expecting sugarcane denim jackets to be more, but
How much are they?
They're 300.
Okay.
So it does cost a lot more to get the fucked up one. Oh no, you don't understand. It's meant to be bad. That is also something that you see a lot in early Demna. I think it's the spring summer 17 season where it's like all the dads.
Is that the first one?
No,
That's the second.
Yeah. No, not spring summer 17. I'm sorry. Spring summer 17 is the first one.
I was right.
Was it spring summer 18? Yes, it's spring summer 18. It's specifically modeled after like dads, like a lot of the like
Yeah.
it was like old guys on the runway. Some of them like had their own kids with them. There are like these jackets are specifically made to be like you see an old guy in like too old of a suit jacket and it's a little worn out and the pockets sag in that very specific way.
Oh, that's pretty bonkers.
It's very intentionally done to look like the old guy you see on the street in the suit that like doesn't fit him well and is super worn out, like coming loose at the threads and stuff like that. They did, and Balenciaga has always had a little bit of that, like trying to impersonate some sort of subculture thing. I think these jackets came with weights that fit in
to
the
keep
pocket,
stretching them?
like coins.
Oh,
Like
you're
so it's
kidding.
sewn into the lining. Not, I think it's removable, but like there's an extra pocket that has these weights, so it looks like you've got coins in your pockets. It's cool.
This is the sort of thing in fashion that makes me really excited.
Yeah.
Where I think at this stage of fashion in general, you have to do something like that to differentiate yourself.
Yeah, it's not
You know
just
what I mean?
about, it's not about, like, it's more of a process than it is about maybe the end product. It's like it's the idea of being able to perfectly recreate something rather than making something brand new.
Yeah. Maybe to pull this back to the discussion about regulations, but I think that it is really important to facilitate a connection with a piece of clothing whether it be doing things like that really increase the amount of engagement that somebody who would be interested in that sort of item would have. But then also in that, taking the amount of care to put into the garment that I think would be reflected in the use and then hopefully in the end of life for that thing, where it doesn't just get thrown away.
Yeah.
Making something special to the point where it can't just get tossed.
And I feel like people find the Balenciaga like 2018 collection kind of weird because it's like you're making like ugly clothes on purpose.
Yeah.
But I don't find it much different from like pre-distressed jeans.
Yeah.
Like what you're doing is you're taking the like admirable wearing in of a garment and you're turning it into the garment itself. And then now that blazer that looks like it's absolutely worn through is actually a brand new thing that's going to last forever.
Yeah.
I don't think most people buying it were like, they perfectly recreated that old guy on the streets jacket that I saw.
But I think that even in having the intention of doing it and having groups like us or maybe our listeners be aware of it and have a respect and a reverence for it is what drives the perception of good for that brand forward.
I do think, yes. Yeah, I agree. And then but it's interesting because like people aren't like that for Balenciaga, but anybody buying that sugarcane jacket is doing so. I would be very surprised if someone bought the mangled World War II Scar City repro jacket because they tried it on and were like, oh, that's a nice jacket. They were probably like, they know about it. Someone at the store told them what it was, and they were like, oh, fuck, that's really cool. That's what I want. And then they bought it.
No, there's a tech millionaire who does, World War II or like Civil War staging, the reenactments. I was looking for on the weekends that like
Which
kicked
side
in
is
the
he
door.
on?
I would guess Union. Sometimes he does Confederacy, but just so that he can do the mutton chops. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's not a very good Civil War reenactor if he's trying to buy a 1940s jacket, I'm afraid.
Well, no, I'm saying his like interest is like American wars.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we'll leave the podcast there. I actually really enjoyed doing this one. We did good, Michael.
There is one more thing
Ooh.
about the tech CEO Self-Edge guy.
Yeah.
I have sat in Self-Edge sometimes
Yeah.
just to like hang out. It is very interesting to watch, like, because I'm so used to this like really emphatic crowd who like is buying that stuff because they know what it is and they're like, oh, that's so sick. You will definitely see like some like, rich old guys dress cool, but not like they just dress like they have cool stuff, but they don't dress like intentionally high fashion or whatever. And they'll just walk in and they'll try on a pair of pants. They'll be like, yeah, these fit nice. Could I get 3 of those? And then buy like, that just becomes their jeans rotation. They're going to just like machine wash and dry them or whatever, like regular old pants. And I think they do get like warned, like, oh, these might shrink a bit but like just no interest in raw denim, like that it's a nice, like
Well made.
like sturdy feeling pair of pants. They'll buy it and that's it. And I think that's wonderful.
I had like a near
Because that's what
panic
jeans
attack.
used to be.
I was in there and I was sitting there. I was getting the crotch on these repaired. And a guy came in. He tried on one of the horse leather jackets. He was like, cool. Walked over, saw the good art stuff. I was like, oh, these are nice. Saw the jeans. Oh, these are nice. And as I like got my ticket, he was coming up and he was like, can I get this in like a large, this? And I was like, you can do that? Like,
Yeah.
What the fuck?
It's crazy to see, like, because
Huh? What?
to see someone who like doesn't have to specifically save up and think about a specific purchase from a store like Self-Edge, where like I have to, if I'm buying a $500 denim jacket, it is because to me, I have researched every possible jacket between $100 and $500. I have seen which one is the best use of my money and which will go with the most things that I own.
I've looked for 3 weeks on every single site to try and find one.
For less money. I've tried it on 10 times.
Yep.
I have I've run through, I've checked every leak. There is nothing. It's a foolproof plan that I go and buy this jacket and it will mean a lot to me. And to other people,
And then even then, I hand over my card and I'm like, actually, can I see it in a medium one more time?
yeah, let me just try it. Just hold on, let me come back with a different pair of pants. This is why specifically rich people are way more likely to dress bad.
I get what you mean.
Because they don't have to, if we buy something, we have to think about it. We have to be like, is this the perfect use of, like, a pair of GeoBaskets is $500. Is this the perfect use of my money, or am I going to look like a fucking goofball? And like, do I have stuff that this works with? How should I wear it? I'm Googling GeoBasket 20 times a day. And then someone who, to them, whatever retail $1,300 shoes is nothing. They're just like, yeah, I'll take a pair of those. And then they take them home and they wear them with the fucking like Jeremy Scott pants they bought the other day.
Say on cloud shoes.
Yeah.
But I was also going to say that with some of those selvage denim guys, or the really rich dudes that buy selvage denim, they buy them and it's so normal and they wear them so much, like 3G in rotation.
Yeah. And
that'll be their next 8 years.
Yeah.
And you see them in 8 years, like, fuck,
yeah, they
those
look
are
really
good
good
pants. Like, why are you wearing those with Hokas? Like, how did we get here? Like, it looks perfect. Please tell me where you got these. And they're like, oh, I don't know. My wife got them for me. I was like, do you know what they are? They're like, jeans. Have you heard of jeans? I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
I hate that you don't know this.
The thing is that's what...
It's so good. I love it.
On the topic of like perfectly recreating old styles of clothing, that's what jeans used to be.
Yeah, it's just jeans.
One of my coworkers. I saw one of my coworkers at like a company meetup in like a full raw denim outfit, good fades. He didn't know what that was.
Love him.
I started talking to him about it, and I slowly realized, like, oh, this is not like a denim head guy. He just happens to have like nicely faded raw denim jeans on and a matching jacket. Like I said sick fades to him. He had no idea what I meant, and I was like, oh God,
I'm pretty sober right now. I don't know what you mean by fades.
I panicked, but maybe that's really what it's all about, and I'm the dumb one.
I don't know. I think everybody gets an interest. The worst thing to do is be jaded about it.
Yep.
That's a podcast, Michael. Let's do
podcast.
Song of the week.
Oh, what's my song of the week?
I don't know. What is your song of the week, Queen?
What have I been listening to?
My song of the week. I recommended "I Want Your Soul" last week. I'm going to go with what's happening here? A song by Giant and Tyson called "Ah She She." It's really fun. I don't really know how I found this song. I wish I knew, actually, but it's really good. There's also 2 or 3 remixes that go really hard. If you're into DJing, they've put like a really good kick pattern onto the song.
I'm going to put Losing My Edge by LCD Sound System in its entirety on the playlist, which you have to listen to all 8 minutes of his ironic droning.
That's what makes the song good, right?
What makes the song good. We were at a party, Saul and I, and someone DJ'd unmodded all of Losing My Edge.
Oh, I met him later in the night.
Yeah.
Really nice guy named Parker.
Shout out Parker. And that is something that my friends and I would have joked about 8 years ago.
Oh, doing
when we moved to New York. Yeah, we're like the hipster irony of it all.
He works as the sound designer for Sandy Liang Runways, I believe.
Very cool. Shout out Parker.
Thank you so much to everybody for listening to this episode of the PoK podcast. If you'd like to support the podcast, and Yannick, who does all of our video editing, thank you, Yannick. Can you throw a photo of yourself up looking really like a wet dog? You know what I mean? Like really sad and pitiful.
Aww.
Please help our video editing. Yannick. Oh, this is what he lives off of.
For just $4 a month.
For just $4 a month, you can help this poor soul. He's so sad. He's so small too and pitiful. Oh, he hasn't eaten in weeks, and we keep him in a darkened coat closet. He's covered in coal stains. We don't know how those got there. We go and we beat him with rolled up newspapers and say, edit those videos faster. And for $4 a month, you can support Yannick. Head over to herohero.co/PoK. Join the giveaway. We really appreciate everybody who has signed up over there. It really does mean a lot. And if you go over and subscribe, you're automatically entered into this week's giveaway. We're giving away some Bailey Goldberg beanies that we're very excited for. As always, everybody, I'm your host, Saul Thompson. You can find me on Instagram at Saul Thompson. I'm joined this week by my wonderful co-host,
I'm Michael Smith. You can find me on Instagram at @_Smithstagram.
And this has been the Pair of Kings podcast, where once a week, every week for the foreseeable future, we are bringing you business as usual tomfoolery as planned. Find us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Pair of Kings Pod. Join the Discord, join the Hero, all of that really good stuff. We'll see you next week with another episode. Have a great Thursday, everybody, if you're listening to this on Hero, or Tuesday if you're not. I'm going to be out with a surgery for a week or two, so if I go quiet, that's why. But we'll still be holding down the fort. We've got a couple more episodes left in the season, so pay attention to that. And then next season, we've got some very exciting stuff coming up. We hope you enjoy. Thank you so much to everybody for listening. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.